It's been interesting to watch what's been going on the last 3 months regarding Bayern Munich and their open flirtation with Leroy Sane. I just want to bring up to date what has happened over the last 48 hours. You had the Bayern Munich president. Now, Herbert Hainer coming out and saying it's been known for a year now that we have been interested in Leroy Sane. He's still under contract with Manchester City. We have to see how things develop. He is also a marketable player, especially for the young demographic. Now, obviously, Herbert Hainer has taken charge of the role that was previously held by Uli Hoeness. This is what he had to say this weekend. I believe that we're on the threshold of a relatively great generation. We managed to extend with Neuer, and we have Kimmich, Süle, Lewandowski, and hopefully Alaba and Alcantara agreeing contracts. And I also hope with Leroy Sane, with Koeman and with Gnabry, a young, developable team. We would certainly like to have Kai Havertz, but at the moment, no one knows what the economic future of football is. I would like to see him in Munich from a sporting perspective, but as of today, I honestly cannot imagine it, although I would like to see it. Jan, let's just start off, shall we, with Leroy Sane. Isn't this just flagrant tapping up? Does that exist anymore? Is that a thing?
Well, in Germany, they just speak about everything, don't they? And Bayern Munich, you know, you are old enough to remember the Muppet Show. And in Muppet Show, you have these two old men in the balcony. In Munich, there are 4 or 5 of them. And they just come out and they are president of honor and they get their platform and they're sitting everywhere talking about players. I think that now with Salihamidzic and Khan, you got a new generation that used to play poker, and they understand that maybe you shouldn't be so open about the player you want if you want them for the right price. I can tell you 100% that Sané and Havertz are on wish list of Bayern Munich. Will they get them? I don't know. But this is just a game. They will and have to go after the best German players, and Bayern Munich will do, because, for example, with Werner, first they said, we can't fit him in. Then Hans Flick came and said, well, we can fit him in. And then Werner said, I don't want to go to Bayern. So that was the soap opera of Bayern Munich, and I love that club because it's Muppet meeting the soap opera.
If you haven't seen the Muppets, maybe you're a little younger, just imagine Stevie and Craig sitting in the balcony of a theatre, and I think that pretty much sums it up quite nicely. Craig, this is blatant, isn't it? And Jan makes a great point. If you're Manchester City, I'm going to add another 10 million to this deal if they're so interested in our player.
Well, someone better tell you, and he's working with a bunch of Muppets now. We're working with us on this show. But, you know, the one thing is, you know, it has been flirtation with this player for quite a while, and it looks like it will happen. I think the player wants to go himself. I think City have sort of resigned themselves in some sense to that happens if they get the financial rewards for it. But Jan's absolutely correct. This is a club where they have some individuals that if Real Madrid come out and said, oh, we really would like to get Robert Lewandowski, and Barcelona said, oh, we wouldn't mind Thiago, and so forth and so forth. They would be raging. They would be saying this is a disgrace. How can you be talking about an unsettling the world's best number 9? And ultimately, that's what they're doing with some of the younger players at weaker clubs who haven't got the financial stability that Bayern or the clout that Bayern have. And that's unfortunately how this regime may be on its way out at some point, but this current regime has operated. They've gone in, they've pilfered, they've been very public about it. And that's ultimately why they've won, 8 Bundesliga titles in a row or thereabouts, because, you know, that's how they've done their business.
We were talking, Jan, before the show and how I was going to put this question without sounding whiny, but it's difficult to come across for anything but. But it isn't fair, is it? It isn't good for German football. It isn't good for football in general. I know we've seen it over the years so many times, not necessarily just in the Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich, as Craig can say, can just come in, peel for the best players, bish, bash, bosh, win another title.
Well, it's not that easy. It's not that easy, Dan. I mean, Bayern, they're doing a great job as well. They are attracting the big sponsors. They have the way they're playing at the moment. And mind you, if you have a look at the team, they're getting younger as well. But that has been a strategy, and Craig was into us as well. There's been a strategy. When Werder Bremen did well, they went in and bought their best players. They did the same with Götze, Hummels, Lewandowski from Dortmund. But I mean, we can't make German football better when Bayern get worse. I mean, the German clubs like Dortmund, RB Leipzig, Leverkusen, Gladbach, then they need to get better. That is sport. So if not, we go back to Soviet Union and just decide which teams should win the league and the cup and get to European places. So then they have to improve the other teams.
It's up. You're absolutely right, Jan. You're absolutely right. It's up to the others to try and get better. It's no different in Scotland. Over the years, Celtic and Rangers, when there was a good quality Scottish player about, went and bought the best players from Hearts and Dundee United and Aberdeen. In England, it happens the same. So it's not Bayern's duty to not go and get the best players. But I think there is a sense about the way they go about it and the arrogance they go about it in terms of the public flirtation is slightly frustration. Listen, Hoeness is right in one thing. They've started to phase out the old guard. We saw Ribery go. We saw Robin go. There have been others. We saw Hummels go back to Dortmund. They've got Gnabry in, who's doing great. They've got Coleman in, who's doing great. Kimmich obviously is having a great season as a midfielder. They're going down this youthful route of buying younger players, and that is absolutely the correct strategy to do. But I think what irks people is the arrogance in how they just say, "Oh, so-and-so is a very good player at that club. I think we'll have him," because they really don't like it when somebody tries to do that to them. That's the only issue I've got, not with Bayern trying to make themselves better.
But Jan, the onus, obviously, as you quite rightly say, it's on the other teams to make themselves better, to really push Bayern Munich. But for example, if you're Bayer Leverkusen, how can you do that if you've got Bayern coming in and sweeping and buying Kai Havertz in the summer?
You can do exactly the same thing that Manchester United did with Cristiano Ronaldo. They said to Cristiano Ronaldo, if you stay one more year and do your business, next year we will sell you to Real Madrid. Exactly what Leverkusen did to Kai Havertz. Even last year, everybody wanted him. He's staying, he's playing well, he's scoring his goals. That's how it's done. Craig is right. I mean, Uli Hoeness was 27 when he took over that club. And they got the 51 rule in Germany, meaning that the members got to own 51% of the club. But Bayern Munich the last 40 years, and I love that guy because he is arrogant, as he is a kind of Sopranos kind of guy. I love Uli Hoeness. They are owned 100% by Uli Hoeness the last 40 years. And I think, although he's now said to Hainer, you can be my crown prince, but he will be the royal king, and he will always come with statements. And that's why we love to watch German football, because that's why Sportbild, Kicker, and Bild-Zeitung got like 80 pages every day about football in Germany.
Go on, Shaq.
Well, and listen, I agree with the boys here totally. It's Bayern's prerogative to do exactly as they are. That's the benefit of being a big football club that's well run and well financed and has a corporate machine that it does. It's no different from any other big club in any of the major leagues in Europe. I think the difference here, and added to that, tapping up always goes on. Maybe not always this openly, but it always goes on. But added to the frustrations with Bayern Munich here is that for as good a competition as it is, for as many good teams as there are in the Bundesliga, it's established itself almost like PSG in France. Nobody can compete. And though you can make a similar argument around Spain, at least we've got two clubs, 2.5 if you want to include Atletico Madrid. English football has got maybe 4. In Germany, as in France, there's only one real winner, and that becomes a frustration when Bayern Munich focuses so much of their financial muscle, so much of their purchasing on other Bundesliga clubs. That is the frustration for me.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.